Inside a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier, some sailors go weeks, sometimes months, without ever seeing sunlight. Not because something went wrong, that is just their job.
Below the flight deck, there are 11 levels going straight down into the ocean.
The world watches the jets taking off, but nobody talks about what is underneath.
That changes right now. The flight deck you see on television, that is just the roof.
Some of what is down there will genuinely change how you see these ships forever.
Stay with us, because what we are about to reveal goes far deeper than any documentary.
We are starting from the very top and going all the way down to the bottom.
And before we go any further, what do you think is the most surprising thing hidden inside? Drop your answer in the comments below, and there are no wrong answers, and we read every single one.
Let's dive into the hidden world of the aircraft carrier.
Most people have seen an aircraft carrier on the news or in a movie. That massive flat deck, the jets roaring off the front, the crew in colored vests.
It looks impressive, and it is, but what you are seeing is less than 10% of the ship.
The USS Gerald R. Ford, America's most advanced carrier right now, is 333 meters long. It weighs 100,000 tons, and it costs $13.3 billion to build.
That is $13.3 billion for one ship.
But here is what nobody mentions. That ship has 11 levels below the flight deck.
11 floors of operations, weapons, power systems, living spaces, medical facilities, and compartments that most people have never seen. The Navy itself calls it 4.5 acres of sovereign U.S. territory. It is not just a warship, it is a moving piece of America. So what is actually down there? Let us go level by level. Level 1, the hangar bay, the hidden airfield. The first major space below the flight deck is the hangar bay. And when you see it for the first time, the size will stop you cold. The hangar bay on a Nimitz or Ford-class carrier is 3 decks high. That means the ceiling alone is as tall as a 3-story building. And the floor stretches for hundreds of meters in both directions.
It runs roughly 2/3 the full length of the ship.
This is where the jets live when they are not flying.
Modern carrier aircraft like the FA-18 Super Hornet are designed with folding wings.
When a jet folds its wings, It cuts its footprint nearly in half.
Even then, each aircraft takes up as much floor space as a small apartment.
Storing up to 90 of them requires a level of choreography that is closer to an art form.
Aircraft that need repair or maintenance are arranged below in what the crew calls packs.
Rows of aircraft grouped by mission type or how ready they are to fly.
Small tow tractors, not the jet engines, move these planes carefully through the tight corridors.
4 massive elevators, each one the size of a tennis court, move the aircraft up to the flight deck.
These hydraulic lifts are powerful enough to carry 2 fully loaded jets at the same time.
And at the far rear of the hangar bay, in the stern of the ship, is the Aircraft Intermediate Maintenance Division.
This is the repair center, a full workshop where mechanics are constantly fixing and testing parts. At the very end of the ship, connected to these shops, is a small open-air area on the fantail.
The only place on the carrier where jet engines can be safely blast tested.
Think about that. Every single aircraft that takes off from that flight deck has been serviced, tested, and approved.
Right there inside the ship, hidden from the world entirely. The Catapult room's connards, hidden directly beneath your feet.
Here is one that most people never hear about.
When you watch a jet launch off a carrier, you see the aircraft accelerate from 0 to 160 miles per hour in about 2 seconds.
That kind of power does not come from the jet engine alone.
It comes from a launch system hidden directly underneath the takeoff strip.
On the older Nimitz-class carriers, the catapult rooms were filled with massive steam pipes, valves, and pressure systems
That took up enormous amounts of space and required a large crew just to operate. The catapult piping launch room sits right under the takeoff strip, directly beneath where pilots hurtle into the sky.
On the newer Ford-class carriers, everything changed.
The steam catapult was replaced by EMALS, the electromagnetic aircraft launch system.
Instead of steam pressure, EMALS uses a linear induction motor, essentially a controlled electromagnetic force to accelerate the aircraft down the track. The control rooms for this system sit under the hangar, protected deep inside the hull, where enemy fire cannot reach them.
The result: smoother launches, less stress on the airframe,
And the ability to launch aircraft at very different weights, from heavy fighters down to lightweight drones with the same system.
Before we go any deeper, and we are about to get to the rooms that almost nobody talks about, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel.
Over 98% of people watching right now have not subscribed yet.
It costs you nothing, it means everything to us. Hit subscribe right now, and let us keep going.
The weapons magazine's teeth, the most restricted rooms on the ship. 11 levels down, buried deep in the hull, protected by steel plating and strict access controls.
This is where the bombs live.
A U.S. Navy supercarrier can carry an enormous quantity of ordnance, missiles, bombs, torpedoes.
All of it stored in refrigerated, pressurized magazine rooms deep below the waterline. These are not simple storage rooms.
They are engineered environments designed to keep explosive materials safe. In one of the most active, high-vibration workplaces on Earth. Getting weapons from those deep magazines up to the jets on the flight deck used to be a slow, labor-intensive process. Sailors would move bombs by hand on small carts, riding elevators up through multiple levels. On the USS Gerald R. Ford, that changed entirely.
11 advanced weapons elevators, powered by the same electromagnetic technology as the launch system, now move ordnance.
From the deep magazines directly to the weapons handling and assembly area, and then straight up to the flight deck.
The Navy designed it so that weapons never cross the path of aircraft movement.
The goal, as one Rear Admiral described it, was rear-carrying aircraft in minutes, instead of hours. Those 11 elevators caused serious problems early in the Ford service.
They were delivered non-functional, all 11 of them.
It took years to get them fully operational.
But once they were working, they transformed how fast the ship could generate combat sorties. This is what sits below a carrier's deck, a fully functioning weapons logistics system operating independently, invisibly, and constantly.
Here is a question for you, and we want your honest answer in the comments.
Did you know weapons elevators existed on aircraft carriers before watching this? Yes or no? Let us know below. The nuclear reactor compartments. The heart of the machine. And now we reach the most restricted place on the entire ship.
Deep in the center of the hull, surrounded by layers of steel, radiation shielding, and security protocols.
Sit the 2 nuclear reactors that power everything. The USS Gerald R. Ford runs on 2 A-1B nuclear reactors built by Bechtel.
Each one produces 300 megawatts of electrical power.
Together, that is 600 megawatts, 3x what the older Nimitz-class reactors produced. And here is the extraordinary part. The ship only needs half of that power for its current systems.
The rest is reserved for future technology, including directed energy weapons like laser systems
that the Navy plans to install in the coming decades.
The reactors heat water to produce steam.
That steam drives turbines. Those turbines generate electricity for the entire ship. The launch system, the weapons elevators, the radar, the lighting, the kitchens, the medical ward, everything.
Access to the reactor compartment is forbidden during operation. Reactor engineers wear radiation monitors at all times.
They work in shifts. They follow schedules so precise that every minute near the reactor is planned and recorded.
Even officers with high security clearances cannot simply walk in and look around.
You need to know someone who works there, and even then, it is not guaranteed.
Some sailors on the Ford have served for months and never seen the reactor room. It is simply off limits.
The reactor does not need to be refueled for approximately 20 to 25 years.
That means the ship can go anywhere in the world, at any time, without stopping for fuel.
No foreign base needed, no permission required, just open ocean and the will to move. The double-bottom Surti, the ship's secret armor. Here is something that almost nobody mentions when they talk about aircraft carriers. Below the reactor rooms, below the magazine rooms, below all the living spaces, there is one more layer of protection. The ship has what is called a double bottom.
The entire lower hull is built with 2 layers of thick steel plating, separated by a gap.
If an enemy torpedo or underwater mine punches through the outer layer, the inner layer holds.
The ship does not flood! The mission continues. This double bottom runs the full length of the ship.
It is built into the very structure of the keel, the iron backbone at the lowest point of the hull. It is invisible from the outside, it is invisible from the inside unless you know where to look.
And it has saved ships before.
The same structural thinking applies to the bulkheads, the internal walls that divide the ship into sealed compartments.
On a Ford-class carrier, these compartments number in the thousands.
The older Admiral Kuznetsov, Russia's only carrier, has 3,857 designated areas inside its hull.
American carriers have comparable complexity. Every compartment has a code stamped on the wall, called a bullseye, telling you exactly where you are. Which deck, which frame, and what the room is used for.
New sailors must learn to navigate from their living quarters to their workstation in under 10 minutes. Some never fully master it.
Life below the deck Pineleys, the city that never stops.
Now here is where it gets personal.
Below the flight deck, behind the weapons and the reactors and the machinery, live nearly 5,000 human beings. They eat, sleep, work, exercise, get haircuts, visit the dentist, and call home, all without ever touching land.
On older carriers, enlisted sailors slept in large compartments with 60 other people, 3 bunks stacked on top of each other.